same age, and she's going to school, and and Kosh just called him back now. So they,
Nice.
he's still.
All right.
All right, it's 4 o'clock. We'll get the Plan Commission rolling here. Mayor Sorensen is present. Ryan Sasbaum.
Here.
Jerry Jones. Here. Marilyn Montemayor.
Here.
Dave Huffman is excused. John Matiska.
Here.
All right, and Alderperson Mitchell is excused. For those in attendance, would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks everybody. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from our previous meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Chair votes aye. Minutes are approved. All right. 3.1, application for conditional use permit with exceptions by South Lead Inc. to install new electronic message center reader board at the existing McDonald's on 3626 South Taylor Drive. Steve?
All right, what we're taking a look, Ken Peters is here from Seth LED, and what they're proposing to do is, this is the McDonald's on Taylor and Washington Avenue, and it's the existing McDonald's pylon sign. And as you can see from the photos, what they're just looking at is the reader board portion, and what they'd like to do is change that from the manual reader board to the electronic reader board. The sign itself is pretty much the same size, and what they're trying to do, you can see there's a little bit more of a gap on the existing one. They're trying to close that gap to integrate the reader board a little bit more closely with the pylon sign. So the reason that this is coming before the Plan Commission is all the electronic reader boards come, and this is a legal non-conforming pylon sign. So what they're asking to do is replace that with that electronic reader board, and they're asking that there is an exception to do it. And the one question that the Plan Commission may want to ask of the applicant, and I'm not sure that the applicant will be able to address this as all, if they have any ideas as far as what's taking place at the gas station itself with the pumps and things like that that are all boarded up. Other than that, staff was recommending approval of the sign permit.
Questions from commissioners? Jerry?
Thank you, Mayor. Quick question for you on the sign itself. 2 questions. Number 1, moving it up, will that hurt the vision triangle there on the corner? It looks, I've come around that corner every day, and it just looks like if you move it up, it's going to be harder for me as a driver to catch that in my viewing angle.
We took a look at that, and it's actually, it doesn't really impact it much at all, because it's set back enough.
Okay, and second question, would it benefit by having it just a little wider? Not that that's within the rules or not, but it just seems like a little bit wider would help.
Yeah, it is 3 inches wider.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we tried to stay within the scope of what the current sign was.
Okay.
But I know that my client would likely be interested in a larger, the ability to do a little bit larger sign, so it's easier to read and so forth.
Okay. Yeah, no, I can feel Steve ready to choke me down there. But the last question for you on the pumps and everything, have you heard anything from the former tenants on where that's going?
Not on the former tenants, but our client, Killian Management McDonald's, told me that the owner of the individual in there is looking for another tenant to come in.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Steve, yeah?
Yeah, if you, I don't know, Ken, right now, the proposal is very similar to what it was previously. I think it was 3 feet high by 8 feet 4 inches wide. I'm not sure when you say that they would like to, any ideas what that might mean from increase in size? Would that be the height of the sign getting taller compared to wider?
Yes.
Or what were your thoughts beyond that?
I know that there was a discussion about 1 foot higher and 1 foot wider. So it would be roughly 4 foot
1 by 9'4".
So I guess that would be up to the plan commission if anyone, is interested in that. I guess what we could do is just incorporate that if you wanted to, but so that could be something, if people think is important, we'd want to make sure that we put that in as a condition of approval, that specific size, that we would allow it to be, X size if we want to do, if the plan commission wants to do that.
Is that still within?
Yeah, that would be fine as far as square footage. As far as, size and things like that, there's no problem on that, because I think that ends up, what would you say, 4 by 9, 36 square feet?
Yes, sir.
So not too much more than the 24 they're proposing.
I would make that proposal then, to approve, subject to changing to 4'9" sign.
I'll second that.
Motion second. You good with that?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any other deliberation? All right. Yeah, just let, your client know that we're very interested and curious about what the gas station component's gonna be, so.
Yeah, and they are as well.
Yep,
Because,
any way that we can help, have them reach out, happy to be of assistance.
thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So, yeah, Steve?
The only thing I would say, Ken, on that is, what we would need to do then is just update the permit, the sign design drawing and things like that to reflect that size. So I'd need a new application and new drawings for that.
Okay. I will contact my client, and I think they'll
Sounds good.
probably go in that direction. Great. Thank you very much.
Cool. There's been a motion second, no more discussion. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Chair votes aye, that's approved. Thank you. All right, moving along. 3.2, application for conditional use with exceptions by 416 KY LLC to operate a multi-tenant commercial facility at 1416 Kentucky Avenue. Steve?
All right, thanks, Mayor. Curtis DeConing is here, and he is the owner of 1416 Kentucky Avenue. And this is a facility that was previously owned and operated by Edgewater Plumbing. Curtis purchased the property approximately about a year ago, if probably a little bit less. And at this point in time, he has been approved to operate Shorty's Rust-Free Rigs, and that is an indoor automobile retail use of the facility. There's quite a bit of space that is left over in terms of some office space and things like that. And so it lends itself to having potentially another tenant in the facility. At this point in time, there's no formal tenant, but there's office space both on the first and second floor, and it lends itself to probably a professional service, small insurance, someone who needs some additional office space. And so the applicant is allowed to do the indoor auto sales. It can't do anything outdoor, no services, but the facility does appear to lend itself to potentially having another tenant in it. So staff was recommending approval. Plan Commission may want to ask what types of hours, or if the applicant has any potential client in mind. But this was because of how much space is where Curtis and I were talking, and he would like to have the ability to have another tenant come in there, and this was the process allowing that to occur. So I can answer any questions in the applicants here as well.
Any additional
Yeah,
things you'd
so
like to add?
Curtis DeConing, 416 Kentucky LLC. I actually own the duplex next door and live there, and I bought the building in December of 2020 from Jeremiah Leader, who runs Edgewater Plumbing here in town. I've been approved by the state and by the city to run a retail used automotive dealership, which will specialize in rust-free vehicles from down south and out west, as well as some late model muscle cars. Cars have always been a passion and a hobby of mine, and I'm looking to pursue that in the business aspect. The building is rather large. It's just under 11,000 square feet. And for the retail dealership, essentially I only need one office space and then the storage space inside of the building. So what this permit is seeking is just to allow a multi-tenant use of that building rather than a single tenant, so I can fill the office spaces that I won't be using for myself. I've already walked through the building with Steve and also Pat Eric, who's the commercial inspector, and there won't be any physical changes needed to the building. I just need this conditional use permit and then obviously the occupancy permit from Pat after this to go forth with the motion, so.
Questions from commissioners? Ryan?
Yeah, what are going to be your hours of operation?
So my hours of operation, we're only required by law to hold operation hours 1 day a week. So it's going to be from 8 to 11:30 for me in the morning on Tuesdays, and then Monday through Saturday by appointment, no hours on Sunday.
Okay. And as Steve mentioned in the document, do you have any other tenants lined up at all?
I don't have any other tenants lined up right now. I haven't really shopped it around since I didn't have the permit to do such. So I was waiting for that approval, and then I can go ahead and list it for rent.
Yeah, I understand. Thanks.
Jerry?
I know you don't plan any outdoor changes to the building, but are there any modifications you're looking to do, painting, tuck point, anything like that?
At some stage, I would like to repaint the east end of the building, just because the paint is starting to show its age. Before I bought the building, all of the lighting outside was updated to LED, and there really isn't any other physical changes on the outside of the building right now. I may at some time later approach the commission on possibly redoing the alley behind, because the alley is very, very rough, and though it's owned by the city, the tenants and the property owners do take care of it. So at some stage in the future, I'd like to maybe approach that subject, but nothing concrete and nothing today.
Cool.
Great. Make a motion to approve, subject to staff recommendations.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? Chad?
I have to ask my question. So you have an elevation, the east elevation, that appears like it might be a good location for a mural. Would you ever consider that in the future?
I have actually considered that just personally. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd be open to, to that discussion at a later date, depending on what that mural is.
Sounds good.
Sure.
All right. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Chair votes aye. That's approved. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, 3.3, application for conditional use permit with exceptions by Marcy Yang to operate a micro shading semi-permanent makeup tattoo home occupation business at her residence located at 1411 Camelot Boulevard. Steve?
All right, thanks, Mayor. Marcy Yang is here, and we're taking a look at 1411 Camelot Boulevard. Mercy will probably be able to speak to microshading better than I'll be able to, but basically what we're taking a look at is there is an ability for people to apply for a conditional use permit to operate a professional service home occupation. And so that's what Mercy is proposing to do from her residence. She's looking at a 286 square foot area in her basement to operate the microshading. The future goal is to have a brick and mortar location to host clientele with a menu of professional beauty services. Microshading is a form of semi-permanent makeup that involves shading eyebrows by making fine, minute dots and lines along the brow area using a single sterile needle attached to an electronic tattoo device. There will be little or no disturbance in the neighborhood because one client is permitted at a time and the procedure takes about 3 to 4 hours to complete. Hours are likely to be Friday through Sunday. No signage to be on the exterior of the building, preventing walk-ins, and appointments must be scheduled ahead of time. So again, there is an ability for a person to apply for a conditional use permit for a home occupation, and that's why she's here today before the Plan Commission, and staff was recommending approval of the proposed use.
All right. Marcy, any additional comments or information you'd like to present?
Sure, yes, I did write a little something here. Hi, everyone. My name is Mercy Yang. I'm a second-generation Hmong woman. I work full-time and dream of owning my own business, doing that part-time for now. Entrepreneurship has always been talked about in my family, but has never been initiated on or acted on. I stand here before you proposing to make an American dream come true. I believe microshading is a form of self-care that helps individuals feel beautiful and more confident about themselves. This could be individuals dealing with extreme diagnoses like alopecia or cancer, or just your everyday mom looking to reinvent herself. This would be a great service added to the Sheboygan community, as there are few microshading businesses in the area, and semi-permanent makeup is in its growth life cycle phase in the U.S. Small businesses have to start somewhere, and in my family, I believe that'll start with me.
Cool. Questions, comments from commission members? Jerry?
Yeah, I was all on board until you said needle in 3 to 4 hours, so I wish you luck. And I make a motion to approve. Oh, no, yeah, no.
Jerry will be your first person.
No, lost me there.
But yeah, it's in its growth life cycle phase, and I plan on growing it in the community, so.
Excellent. Well, we wish you luck. I make a motion to approve subject to recommendations.
And I'll second.
Motion second, final comments? John?
Real quick, is there any risk of infection since you're doing needles and tattooing?
So I
And would
was,
this be a sterile enough area for that?
yes, definitely. I was trained by a licensed permanent makeup tattooist. She has over 10 years' experience. She has provided like the tools and the list of everything that you should use. It's all single-use items, single sterilized needles, and then along with ink and all those little tools. My next step after this is to have an inspection done by the Department of Health and Human Services so that they can also make sure everything is clean, sanitized.
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, that was the one thing I was just going to mention, Mayor, was that there is a licensing requirement from the Sheboygan County Health Department. So Mercy was looking to get the conditional use permit before she applied for that.
Yes, and they actually recommended that too. I reached out to the Department of Health and Human Services, and they said, wait to see what the city says. So that'll be the next step.
That's usually how it goes, right? All right, there's been motion second. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Chair votes aye, that's approved. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right, 3.4, application for conditional use with exceptions by Martha and Mike Pelzel, there we go.
Thank you.
Pelzel to operate Four Seasons Comfort at 3313 North 15th Street and 1444 Pershing Avenue. Steve?
Yeah, what we're taking a look at is Mike and Martha Pelzel are looking to operate Four Seasons Comfort at 3313 North 15th Street. Four Seasons Comfort is Sheboygan County's premier residential and light commercial heating and air conditioning company. They opened their doors in 2005 and have grown annually over the years. They provide both heating and air conditioning installation for residential and light commercial building throughout Sheboygan County. And they have been voted as a winner and finalist of the Best of Sheboygan County for multiple years. They've been looking for a building to relocate their business as they needed more space. The site had previously housed two businesses and it will now be solely used by Four Seasons Comfort. The three service bays that face Pershing Avenue will be used for their box trucks for overnight storage and loading for their upcoming installs of furnaces and air conditioners. The back section will be used for fabrication of ductwork, parts department, and storage of furnaces and air conditioning units. The location will not only double the space that they currently have, but ensure that all the work can be confined to the interior space, keeping the work noise low for adjoining neighbors. On the exterior, the building will be painted. The parking lot would be asphalted and fresh signs will replace the existing signs. Parking lot will accommodate their employees as well as room for walk-in customers for a total of 12 parking spaces. They currently have 10 employees. Four Seasons Comfort does offer 24/7 emergency service, but normal business hours are Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. till 4 p.m. And they are excited and happy to be a part of the city of Sheboygan and look forward to a long partnership. The only item that we've talked about a little bit is the parking lot is presently gravel. Any of the areas that are used for parking and maneuvering of vehicles are to be paved. We've spoken about this. The only item that I had on there that we might want to get some input from the applicants is just a date as to have that accomplished. It could be December 2nd of this year, or it could be June 2020 of 23. And I just put that out there because I didn't know what the status was, how they were getting in, and I just wanted to have the discussion. The discussion is really more focused on eventually getting it paved and landscaped. And so I didn't know what the Plan Commission thought and if the Pelzels had any sort of comment or feedback that they would like to share on that. Other than that, there's the one storage container on the north side and a barrel. Are you guys getting rid of that? But staff was looking that stuff would be removed from the site. And other than that, staff was recommending approval of the project, and the Plan Commission can have the applicants address some of those comments.
Cool, thanks, Steve. Mike, any other additional information or comments you'd like to add?
Boy, I think Steve said it pretty well.
He usually does a good job.
Took it right from Martha's.
So just introduce myself. I'm Mike Pelzel. This is my wife, Martha Pelzel. Obviously, we own Four Seasons Comfort here in Sheboygan. Been in business since 2005, like Steve had alluded to. We're presently located out between Sheboygan and Howard's Grove on Highway 42, Garton Road. We have 2,400 square feet out there. We've outgrown that for about 8 years, and this building came up for sale. It checks most of the boxes for us, including doubling the size. And again, there are improvements that we would like to do to it. I guess the first thing I'd like to debate or talk about would be the asphalting of the parking lot. Now, on the want and the need list of things to do, that is definitely a want, but as we're getting prices back, it's something that I would like to have a little bit more leniency as far as time to be able to budget and do that. Painting the exterior of the building is a big priority to us. You can see by the pictures that the portion of the building has been painted. We're just actively getting quotes to get the entire building painted with a new color scheme, etc. So, questions on that so far?
The only comment I might make is that, one of the things, and I don't know what you think about that, but one of the comments on the parking was June 1st of 2023. Staff certainly doesn't have an issue with that. It was just more of wanting to hear from the applicant and what the plan commission thought.
I guess on one hand, I look at it, it's hard-packed gravel. It's been that way for all the years that Showcase Painting was in there and Auto Maintenance Repair was in there. Again, it's a want. I just have to be able to budget accordingly and eventually get to that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. Jerry?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, what I've seen in the past on Plan Commission, what we've done is put a date out there so that we can monitor it, as Steve knows, and then we can use that date as kind of a barometer. You guys come back in within 90 days of that, tell us where you are, how things are going, if it's in the budget, if it's not. I agree, if you have to replace a roof or paint and things that are necessary to get up and running, that's great, but we always try to put some date out there so that we can have some kind of monitoring mechanism in place.
Yeah, if you were going to say 90 days, I'm going to oh, come on.
Oh, no. I saw you shaking over there. No. That's just my feedback.
Sure.
Yeah, and one of the things on that is obviously the city spent a tremendous amount of dollars into the improvements on 15th Street, and there are several businesses along there that have situations like this, and it's certainly something that with that investment that's put in there, that we want to see this area upgraded as well. And you guys are obviously going to do that, but that is an important aspect of this, and this is typically what we do for any business that has the gravel. It's been grandfathered, but once it comes in, we've requested that get done. So I don't have any issues with the June of 2023, if that's the date, but we just want to make sure that gets included in the condition.
Does it work for you, Mike?
Say again, please.
Does that kind of work for you?
Yeah, I think that's
Sure.
generous on that. That gives us a chance to.
And that's kind of a target, so
Yeah.
set in stone.
In a perfect world, I'd have it done before that. I just got to let the dust settle a little bit.
No worries.
Yeah.
Jerry, another?
Nope. I'd just make a motion to approve, subject to recommendations and the changing of the date on the gravel to June of 23.
23.
23, correct.
Second.
Motion second, final comments?
Yeah, I guess there's one other point of discussion, and Steve, you had said about that storage barrel and that container. The storage barrel, totally agree, needs to go. We're getting rid of that. The storage container is actually kind of a nice feature for me for my business. And here's where I'm at with that, is we get a lot of deliveries during the course of the day, equipment-wise, that maybe the distributors don't have access to our building, but they would have access to the storage container for security purposes, that if they know they can get into this storage container, the equipment can be put in there without them being in my building if there's nobody in the building. So I'm looking at the storage container, and again, it's been on site for many years previous to me, and upon purchase of the building, it was kind of a nice, for me, it's a nice feature to be able to have. Now, I think there's pictures up there, and when you drive down North 15th Street, you catch a glimpse of it as you go by it, but it is kind of recessed back on the north side of the building. So I guess I'd just like to bring that up for discussion and see what options we have. There you see it in the
Is
shade.
that area fenced, Mike, or is it open?
There's a fence just to the north of it. You can see the
Yeah.
brown part there, and then it goes to the east back there. So it's 95% fenced in. And again, that storage container is probably about 15 feet off the edge of the building, recessed back to the east.
When you paint, could you paint that to match?
Sure, yeah. We're open to painting. I mean, we're getting the building painted, and if that's,
Yeah, I would say if we're gonna do that, because that's typically with these storage containers, it's something that we're usually getting out of there. I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but if we're gonna allow it, we should definitely at least try to blend it in as best as we can instead of just standing out.
and I totally agree with that, because if you go down to the Clark station just south of me, they have the same exact size on their property in full view of the intersection. They have it painted the Clark color blue, so it kind of blends in, and it's basically the same scenario that we would have on our property. Ours would be recessed and a little bit more hidden.
Yeah, I would say that's the track for me, is that it's more hidden. You won't be able to see it, but having it blend in would be great. So I'd amend my motion to include that.
Ryan?
So you could move it on the site a little bit more, there's a place to put it to actually
Well,
keep it.
we could. It
Yeah.
would be beneficial to me to move it closer to the
Yeah.
street just for delivery purposes, and I don't think we want to do that. But, I mean, we could. I don't know what benefit. I mean, we could go closer to the building maybe, or
Right, that's kind
something
of,
like
that's kind of
that.
what I was thinking, something closer to the building, look at the painting, look at possibly some landscaping around it.
I would be a little concerned about moving it closer to the building. We have windows on that side of the building.
All right.
And for security purposes, it's a dark area that might allow people to potentially get into the building without being seen. So,
Right.
yeah, that'd be the only concern I would have on that.
Yeah. Just give us some thought, you can tell us we're looking for. Thank you.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Chair votes aye, that's approved. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
All right.
All right, next is 3.5, General Ordinance Number 382122 by Alderperson Savalio, annexing territory from the town of Sheboygan to the city of Sheboygan. Steve, Chad, who wants this one?
I'll take this one. So, Scott, can you switch over to so what we're looking at is a fairly large parcel of land. So this annexation originally started out with this small little piece that's in front of the art preserve. So this map doesn't show it, but the art preserve is under construction on this map. And in the front, you'll recall when it opened, there was a single family house right along there. The art center has purchased and since demolished it. So they made a request to the city to annex that little parcel of land in there. While we were considering that annexation, City Attorney Adams and myself said, well, wouldn't it be nice to try to clean up our borders in this area and include the Esslingen Park and this parcel that you see larger here? So we had them go back and map out and come up with the legal description to take this whole piece in. We talked to the county, Sheboygan County, who owns the park, and they were supportive of it. They didn't really care which jurisdiction it was in. They could see the value in doing this. So by doing this, we didn't, otherwise we would have just brought this in, and this would have all still been in the town, when everything to the south of this is in the city, and it's the UW. So we're recommending this annexation of this larger area. We had talked about, typically under state statute, we're required to pay the town 5 years of the town portion of the taxes of what's being annexed in. In a negotiation to work with the Art Center to modify their legal description in their petition, we said that we would cover the cost of that 5 years. It's minimal, it's a couple $100. But in the end, it helps us with trying to clean up our borders. So we're looking for a recommendation to annex that larger piece in, and the idea that the city would cover the town portion of the taxes just on the little single-family lot.
Comments, questions, motions?
Taxes for 5 years, right?
Yeah. Just the town piece. You just pay the town portion.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Motion second, comments? I'll just make a comment. It's exciting that Esslingen Park, which is our sister city, is actually, will now be in the city.
There you go.
So,
That's worth it.
Exactly, right? All right, all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Chair votes aye, that's approved. We've exhausted the agenda. Next meeting, March 1st.
There's a meeting on the 28th, isn't there?
March 1st.
Oh, that's right,
yep.
because it's weird. And this is the month that February is a
It's
weird,
weird, yeah.
it's, yeah.
The 4th, there's no 4th Tuesday in
There's no
February.
fourth Tuesday.
So that's why it's the 1st in March.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, let's adjourn.
Motion second. All those in favor of adjourning, please state aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Chair votes aye. We're adjourned at 4:30. Thanks, everybody.